I have some good news and some bad news, and it's all in one story that is the microcosm of so much of what is wrong with America right now. It's happening in a town just outside of Los Angeles, California, a town of about 37,000 people. It is called Bell. It is one of the poorest communities in LA County, where the average salary is about $30,000 a year. That's important to remember. The average person in this county, $30,000 a year. Well, now here's where the problem comes in. The city manager is making nearly $800,000 a year. Really? The police chief there is pulling down $457,000 a year. Now, to give you some perspective, that is more than double what the police commissioner in New York City earns. That's a city of 8 million people. The Los Angeles Times ran a story disclosing those and several other unbelievable city employee figures, and needless to say, some of the residents were a little less than pleased.
What we would really like to do is see every one of you in jail. I'd like to see all of you in orange jumpsuits.
Gang, this is what's coming. This is what's coming, because this is all over the country. You have to ask yourself, how did city manager Robert Rizzo's salary wind up at over $750,000 a year when he started in 1993 at a starting salary of $72,000 a year? Wow, he must be good. By the way, I was going to say he's a good-looking man, and then I realized, does he kind of look? This is a mugshot. It was taken in March after he was arrested and charged with a misdemeanor drunk driving. But back to his salary and why it's so inflated. You see, the city council voted themselves several raises, and they were able to exempt themselves from a state salary limit through a little-noticed city ballot measure during special election that attracted fewer than 400 people to vote. Oh, and the language on the ballot measure, it didn't say anything about, city council members raising their own salaries. No. How did this happen? Well, believe it or not, California is ahead of the rest of the country. Why? Because progressivism first took root out there. Progressives have been doing this now for 100 years out in California, and it is, look at the state of the state. It's an awful condition. What they did is they wanted to go to direct democracy. These ballot proposition initiatives, that's not really what our founders put together. We don't live in a democracy. Every single one of our founders warned against democracy because they said it would fail, because people, they don't have time to do everything. They don't have time. Have you ever read a ballot proposition and you're like, I don't really even know what that one means? But you vote anyway? That's why our founders set up a republic. We elect leaders who then vote on our behalf. The problem is the democracy isn't working out, and the republic isn't working out because they're corrupt. Well, after the salaries made the national news and raised the ire of the good citizens of Bell, Rizzo and the police chief resigned. Rizzo wasn't exactly contrite about being caught with both hands and his head in the cookie jar. Here's what he said, quote, if that's a number of people choke on, well, then maybe I'm in the wrong business. I could go into private business and make that money. Well, good. Then do it. This council has compensated me for the job I've done. What did you do, fatso, to earn that? I guarantee, Riz, you're in the wrong business. Siphoning off that kind of money from the hardworking public, you should be in community organizing or maybe labor unions. Is Acorn hiring anymore? The problem now is he and other massively overcompensated officials also voted themselves quite comfortable pensions. Rizzo stands to pocket $600,000 every year for the rest of his life. The police chief will now have to try to make ends meet. He's struggling on just $411,000 a year for life. I think that citizen was right. They should go to jail. This is just the most egregious example of public officials raping you. And on top of it, the public being saddled with unsustainable pensions that wind up collapsing the system. And it's not just happening in California. In virtually bankrupt New York, 738 educators are collecting city pensions of more than $100,000 a year. And 3 make more than $200,000 a year. Union pensions at GM and Chrysler help drive those auto manufacturers to the brink of disaster and into the loving arms of the federal government, where they're currently going through your wallet to take that. I could go on and on and on. It's happening in every city, every state, every branch of the federal government in Washington, D.C. It has taken a tiny town of 37,000 to shine a little light on this unsustainable American plague. In Bell, the city council members, facing an unhappy group of taxpayers, unanimously agreed Monday to give their controversial $96,000 a year salary up. Instead, by the way, notice how many Hispanics and minorities are in here. It's almost like you can't call these people racist. Isn't that weird? Anyway, they're not going to draw their $96,000 anymore. They're going to draw now $673 a month. That is a 90% increase. I'm sorry, decrease. It is time now for the rest of us to show up in D.C. and demand the same thing, except on a much, much bigger scale. Last week I started 40 days and 40 nights. 40 days and 40 nights. Change your life. 1, pray on your knees. 1 time a day. Just pray on your knees. Let your kids see it. 2, stop all lies in your life. I mean, even the little one. My wife won't even answer the phone if I say, oh, just tell him I'm not there. She won't do it. Drives me nuts. Stop all lies in your life. 3rd is spend an hour a week more with your family, your children. 1 night a week. Just play a game with them. Do those 3 things for the next 40 days and 40 nights. And then come to D.C. on 8/28 and join me there. Restore honor. We have to restore ourselves first. Now also on Friday, tomorrow night, we're going to continue, and make sure you tell your friends. Tomorrow we really dig into this report from the Weather Underground. And then on Friday, I don't know if you've seen the headlines about the Tea Party movement. Oh, there's infighting. It's imploding. It's over. The list goes on and on. The administration, and I have to tell you, those on the left want it to be true. But is it true? Well, this Friday, we're going to sit down with the representatives of some of the Tea Party groups from all over the country, the different groups, the 912ers, the Tea Parties, and everybody else, and find out what's really happening. Is there a fight, or is it just the fight to save the Republic? Join me on Friday. From New York, good night, America.